Hello there. Frantz Kantor here.
Hello there.
The BBC Home Service.
Hello there.
Hello there. Frantz Kantor here again, and I'm here with Jim Bridges, the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum.
And we're here in downtown Docklands on this cold and miserable day.
It's a bit cold. It's the first day of winter today in Australia.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently. I was told that.
Seems like it's the 15th day of winter.
I don't know why that has any significance at all, except, I have cold hands. You can see the blood retreating.
Yeah. If you draw fast, will that help?
No, it doesn't help. You could sort of seize up. If I seize up halfway and turn into an ice block, you'll understand why. We're just talking about a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to draw an Australian cartoonist who I've known in the past.
And a painter, portrait painter.
Yeah, he's a bit of everything.
And a stirrer.
Caricaturist, writer.
A stirrer.
Journalist.
He wrote a novel, that's right. I read it.
Yeah. So his name, of course, is Bill Leak. And this is Bill. And actually...
Big Bad Bill.
Yeah. It's a very lovely guy. Very amiable. Very... he is very amiable.
I found him acerbic.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I found him really friendly and genuine and open.
Well, I met him about 4 times, and each time he was a totally different person. And then just before he died, we had a relationship on the telephone.
Right.
And he was incredibly generous then.
Yeah. He has a lot of, he died quite young. He died a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And unfortunately he had a heart attack.
Yeah, 3 days after he launched his book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sadly missed by everybody, and I just thought I'd do a little cartoon, little caricature of him. It's very interesting, his features, apart from his upper lip, which is quite, pronounced. Let's see if I could draw a quick peanut shape to show you what I mean. So, you've got the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and there's this big upper lip here, right? He has there's a lot of muscles here. It looks like it's been deeply weathered, but he's got quite a muscular.
He was a surfer.
Quite a muscular face. He was, yeah.
Lots of salt.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll have a talk about the life and times of Bill Leak in a sec as we go. So I've taken the opportunity to create this dynamic shape. I thought of, like an animator, sort of, sometimes you get forms that sort of twist and turn and have this wonderful lag of mass. I was thinking a lot about that as I was sort of designing this shape or working out something that
the nose goes one way and the mouth goes another.
Kind of like that, yeah. Although I'm not going to push it that far because I'm a little bit concerned with time and with because that sort of I need that's a longer sprint. This is quite a shorter sprint. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. So let's get into it. This is the photograph that I was working from, I think, which is quite nice 3/4 view.
Well, that's how I remember
lighting
it. That's a good source photo.
Yeah, I actually remember him with longer hair.
Oh yeah, well that was taken
working
towards
with
the
him
end.
in Sydney. I was going to say something. The lighting for this is interesting. Got sort of an overhead. It's quite an even light, but it's sort of an overhead light. So you're going to get shadows that form basically on the lower left side of the form. Okay, so that's something to consider.
And underneath the nose and the chin.
Yeah. So let's progress. Let's go ahead. Let's try to get something going with this. Let's see if I can just prop the little iPad up a little bit like that, and it might be helpful to put glasses on.
That helps.
Here you go, Bill. put that on.
Your special drawing glasses.
Yeah. It's just because of this angle, I'm having a little bit of difficulty looking at things. So I need a bit of. I need it to be a bit sharper. I've been drawing a lot with glasses recently. I'm just finding it. It's opened up a whole new world where I can see things.
A whole new world.
Oh dear, I can see things.
I can see clearly now.
Oh no! Throw in some goons or something. I can't handle the top of the.
I don't
tops.
think you spent much of your time listening to pop songs on the radio as a kid.
I did. I listened to a lot of pop songs.
So, like what?
Well, songs that were actually sung better.
Ah, yeah. You say things like that, but you never give examples. The only example you ever gave was the Monkees.
Yeah, I liked the Monkees. The
Yeah.
Monkees were good. Monkees were good value.
But they were just an American rip-off of the Beatles. You're not taking me on that one? Okay.
No, not really.
All right.
I mean, they were obviously set up as the Beatles, as the American version of the Beatles.
Fabrication, yeah.
Hard Day's Night, clones of that. A series based on that. So the silliness and the surreal nature of a band, of a young band, and it had a lot of that energy.
It
I
did.
think Davy Jones. Why are we talking about the Monkees?
I thought Davy Jones was the worst thing in it.
Oh my God!
Mickey Dolenz was great.
Mickey Dolenz was great. Yeah.
And who was the other guy whose mother invented whiteout?
Michael Nesmith.
That's right. He was the John Lennon of the
You
group,
want
wasn't he?
the fourth member? Remember the fourth member? You're going to throw me off.
He
memory
died
off
recently.
now. Oh no! Don't say that.
Yeah, he was the last living
Monkey.
Yeah.
But Mickey Dolenz is still alive, isn't he?
No, yeah, I think he died.
I'm going to have to go back onto Google in a second.
He took the last train to Pottsville, I think.
Oh dear.
That's a good song.
Yeah, so a lot of the songs are written by
Mike Nesbitt.
By
Neil Sedaka.
no. Neil Diamond.
Oh, okay, that's right, yeah. I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get a handle on these highlights here. I think they're quite important because his face is very weathered. It's very worn.
Yes.
And he got a lot of use out of his face. This guy was quick to a scowl and quick to a smile.
Yes.
And he would do that in quick succession. So it could be a scowl and then a smile. Very tense situation. I think when he was on a deadline, you couldn't get any sense out of him whatsoever. I had difficulty talking to him.
His sense of concentration was so intense.
Yeah, it's very, very intense.
Well, you can see it in the eyes, can't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but intense concentration and weighing of issues and things.
He worked for the Financial Review and Sydney Morning Herald.
Yep, that's when I worked with him at first,
and then on the Oz, onto the Oz.
Australian. The Australian was good. He was a cartoonist in the Australian.
He did. Yeah, no, he did a lot of caricatures in the Australian.
Yeah,
he did.
But he had a regular.
Oh yeah, he was there
as a cartoonist. So that was
Peter Nicholson was the main cartoonist, political cartoonist, and then Bill elbowed his way into it, and I think they shared it. They had 3 days each.
Right. It was a nice little gig.
Yeah, Bill was a pretty ruthless political cartoonist. He didn't take prisoners.
You keep saying that.
Well, he didn't.
What's that mean? You don't take prisoners?
Well, he went for the jugular. He wanted to bring them down, not just. Well, like if you pick up the paper every day.
Well, the thing with Bill is that these are the high and mighty, and he didn't like the high and mighty.
No,
he was more. He was very. I mean, you could say working class, but he was more than working class. He was very much. He was incredibly well read and educated, and.
But as he got older, his politics did move to the right. He became quite conservative.
They say that about people that grow older, their politics move to the right.
Not everybody does.
Right. Karl Marx, he didn't. Stalin, he didn't. So, I
think Stalin invented the right, didn't he? God.
Well, anything to the other side of Stalin.
I think Stalin's hero was Ivan the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible or someone.
No. It would be someone very visceral, like Attila.
Yeah, Bill was also a portrait painter.
He was.
And he exhibited in the Archibald.
Yep.
I think he was a runner-up. They don't have runner-ups, do they? They just have...
Well, he won the Packers Prize, which is a kind of a runner-up.
A few times.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, a few times. He's very popular with the Packers, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have...
the poor Packers, not the rich Packers. The blokes who won...
packing people, the packing
Packers.
Yeah,
the people who won did the...
Not the Peter Packer Packers.
The people who unpicked the paintings and from the packages.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah. And who hung them up on the wall, and they'd stand there, and before the doors opened, they would give the award. Bill won it a few times.
Yeah.
But he was always a bridesmaid, never a bride. He never won the big one.
I remember he threw a party once. It was like a commiseration party.
Oh, yeah?
Of one of his entrants. I can't remember who. I think it was Roy and H.G., perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a beautiful painting, a lovely caricature in black and white. He had a very loose, painterly style.
Yeah.
He had a very loose style anyway, but which just contained a lot of the sort of energy. But it was kind of a narrative energy. It was like an energy with a purpose, a poipus. Had a poipus to the energy.
You would have picked up on that.
Yeah, and he quite extraordinary paintings. Actually, I've seen the same subject done by other friends, who loved portraits.
Well,
and
didn't he do?
Bill's had incredible impatience to it. So it had like a hurry to get the likeness down, and then there was something else creeping in. It was that Dorian Gray effect of the.
The Dorian Gray effect.
Yeah. We'll
have to make a film about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of making films, you and me made a film about this, blokes, Caricaturist.
Yeah.
And part of that we had in his biog that in his early career he did portraits, commissioned portraits in Europe. So before he came back to good old Oz, he'd already been doing portraits.
Yeah.
And I remember when his first stuff, I think it first appeared in the the Financial Review before the Sydney Morning Herald. And they were very different. They were really very impressive, strong works.
They were, yeah. Yeah. At one stage we were doing, we were sort of competing for a lot of the covers.
Didn't you?
Fin Review magazine.
You painted Rene Rifkin, and so did he, didn't he?
No, that's Rene Zusters, I think. Can't remember.
I thought he painted him too, because I thought I was comparing him once.
No, it was another
years ago.
Well, I never knew about that. If he did, I can't
Well,
think. It was Renee Zusters did one.
Yeah, okay.
And
like
he bought Rifkin bought mine.
Yeah.
But not without a fight. I'll tell you that story one day.
Really?
Oh my God.
Did he get his beads out and bash her? Did he?
I met him several times, like quite a few times, maybe about 10 sittings we had.
Hang on. Look, let's change the subject. How about one day you draw René Rifkin, then tell the story?
You can tell the story.
All right. Well, getting back to Bill. Prior to Bill turning up in Australian newspapers, there was a bloke called Wolf Kaiser.
Ulf Kaiser.
Wolf. W-U...
No, U-L-F.
U-L-F, yes. Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf.
No, Wolf. His name's Ulf.
Ulf.
Yeah.
No W.
No.
God, I've got a lot of work to do.
You filed him wrong.
Yeah, I did.
You put him under W, and it's not Wolf,
he's under
it's
you.
Ulf.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Anyway, he did these really flashy portraits. They were more than caricatures, they're sort of like flashy portraits.
Well, they're very elegant, like David Levine.
Yes, and lots of cross-hatching.
Yep.
And then Bill comes along and does his own version, but they were much stronger and critical of those people.
Well, they weren't. You couldn't call Bill's work elegant.
No.
He didn't have an elegant bone in his body. So they're totally different take on people. Bill's work is very energetic, and it had this frenetic energy, and it was like a rush to get to the likeness, and then after that he would layer in this incredible narrative that was the true Bill coming through. So Bill was talented, and he could create these beautiful likenesses with the caricatures and things that and some of them are very beautiful. So especially caricatures of girls, of women.
Well,
very sensitive.
I think
nice.
he gave them large pupils and made them cute looking.
Yeah,
didn't matter who they were, and it's funny too because for such an acerbic.
He had a gentle side.
Yeah, I mean, I remember he did a portrait of a caricature of the Queen.
Yep.
And it's almost loving, and I'm thinking, God, look, he's really. I mean, he showed.
He sought and found humanity in the subjects that he drew and he painted. I mean, I can talk to you about his paintings, and what I find in his paintings is a sense of humanness and frailty, and I mean, he was a great painter. I love his paintings.
Well, there's a few in the National Portrait Gallery.
The Bradman painting in the Bradman Museum.
Bradman,
he was on the not the Mike Walsh show, the one after that. Can't remember that. Anyway, that was a beautiful experience to see Bill talking about.
Well, he had that series on ABC. Was it on ABC where he did portraits of people? And he talked about, the process and stuff.
Yeah,
they were good. They were good. They're better than the Rolf Harris ones.
No, the Rolf Harris ones weren't about him painting. They were about other people painting.
No, Rolf Harris painted people.
I know he did, but I don't think he did a...
No, he did both. He did an art show for kids.
Right, I didn't see that. I didn't know.
Anyway, getting back to...
We're talking about... Let's talk about Rolf Harris another day. I don't want to do a caricature before you even start. I'm not doing a caricature of Rolf Harris because I feel a bit betrayed. I grew up watching Rolf Harris and...
and his extra leg.
Yeah, well, let's not go down that road.
So, getting back to Bill... in the film we made, we talk a lot about his caricature. You should check it out. It's Bill Leak Caricatures on YouTube.
On what? What on YouTube? The
Australian
Cartoon Museum.
Yeah, the Australian Cartoon Museum, the film that Frantz and I made about him. And we made another film about his gag work, and I always wanted to make a film about his Aboriginal work because just before he died, he came under all sorts of criticism about one particular cartoon he did. But if you measure up all his work, it caused a huge furore.
It did. I think it sort of, it was a sensitive issue. There's a lot of things writing
but
on things like that.
Bill wasn't...
Bill's not sensitive.
No, but he'd go for it. And the other thing is, he had an accident.
Yeah.
Had an accident, and he was at a party and he just fell over a veranda. He didn't fall, like he was on the ground floor, but he cracked his head. And, it looked like he might have permanent brain damage.
Yeah.
And he tells a story that when he was in the hospital, he was listening to this bloke talking to him next to him in the bed, talking about sport, cricket, all the things that were happening. And of course it didn't happen. The guy wasn't there, or he was dead or something. I forget the details.
So he was having a football conversation with the Archangel Gabriel.
Who knows, yeah. Anyway, it took him a while to get back onto his feet, and also his drawing took a while to get back there too. Yeah. But he came back with more a vengeance than ever, because he'd go after people. And I was on the phone with him, and he was just saying he had nothing to lose anymore. He had nothing to lose. He was just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of print and even film.
Well, this expression is kind of telling you that he had nothing. There's a man with a man on a mission. He has nothing to lose, and I have a pen, and I'm not afraid to use it. So he's a very,
there's a lot of people.
Cartoonist.
It's funny you say. There's a lot of people who have pens, and they are afraid to use it.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, one day I've got to get back to drawing.
Right.
Anyway,
is that you?
No, I'm talking about all these people out there. There's thousands of people who
in YouTube land or Facebook land.
Well, they're the people you and me are most interested in, getting them to pick up the pen and drawing again.
They used to presenters or TV people. People on TV, these celebrities used to say when I was a kid, hello out there in television land. And I used to think as a kid, there's a television land? There's a TV that's populated, there's a land populated just by TVs? What's going on?
Yes. Well, more proof about your childhood out of the mouths of babes comes, Anyway,
Kaka.
Bill...
Oft comes Kaka.
Bill was... a larrikin. Well, that's what he'd be remembered as, a larrikin.
Okay, people use that term, the larrikin. It has a very nasty
originally
genesis.
They were like bodgies. The first larrikins were like bodgies.
And killers and
layabouts.
Slasher gangs and things.
That's all right, that's right. But
very nasty
because
people.
of history, things change.
Yeah.
And larrikin becomes he's an Aussie larrikin.
He's just a naughty boy.
He's an Aussie larrikin.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. Once I know the genesis of something, it's like Ned Kelly. It just you get he killed people. It's not a hero. He killed people.
France doesn't like people with beards too.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, Ned Kelly got a beauty.
So you wouldn't let a barber cut your hair with a beard?
No, I prefer him to use shears or a scissor.
What about a dentist with a beard?
No, I want him to use a drill and the little spit bowl.
Anyway, Bill was...
He's got a beautiful face. I love Bill's face. I wish he was alive. You could just pat him, just stroke his little hair. Look how beautiful, soft his little hair is on his top of his head. It's so cute, sweet. He's a great guy. He was, he was a lovable person.
Every year he'd win the Best Artist of the Year for the Stanley Awards, and he'd get up there
and tell people what a Stanley Award is.
Well,
maybe if they don't know.
It's the Australian cartoon version of the Oscars.
The Oscars.
And it's named after Stanley.
You want to tell people what an Oscar is?
No, they know what an Oscar is.
Well, very soon they probably won't because...
it looks like it's dying out. That's right.
No one likes the Oscars.
Yeah. And do you know where the word Oscar came from?
Oscar de la Renta. No, I don't know. Oscar Kokoschka?
Oh,
Oscar...
that's a Oscar Wilde, keep going, you know.
Oscar Wilde, there you go. From Oscar Wilde.
No, I think it was one of Bette Davis's husbands. But then again, that's only one of the stories.
I like Oskar Kokoschka.
He was a messy painter.
Yes.
He threw the paint around.
Yeah.
He really threw it around.
Kind of in a more of expressionist way. We tend to look at things and put labels on artwork, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a valuable
Bill
experience,
talked about
and
art a
sometimes
lot.
it's
Bill,
not.
Bill talked
He did.
about
Yeah.
art a lot.
He
He was drenched in it. He'd done his homework.
We all do our homework, but
Well, a lot of people don't.
I did my homework. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? You're
No, but
inferring I didn't do my
You're
homework?
not like a lot of people.
Yeah, I just no, I didn't do homework. Didn't like homework. I
No,
just
I'm talking
prefer
about
to
your
watch
art.
horror
I'm
films
talking about
and-
your art homework.
Yeah, you know, my art homework, as I said to you before, is a kind of skewed because we had my mother bought. My mother was a bit of a
Gambler.
well, yeah, but she was. Don't say that to people. That's not.
Well, you
nice.
told me that.
In private.
Oh.
My mother
but
liked.
her winnings financed you with comics.
My mother liked salesmen, door-to-door salesmen.
That doesn't
And,
sound very nice either.
That sounds worse.
Would you come in and
it's a lot
vacuum
worse.
my carpet?
It's a lot worse than it's a lot worse than it sounds. Believe me. Ha-ha.
So you've got a whole room full of encyclopedias as a kid.
We had a whole room of
Wall-to-wall
and I loved them.
encyclopedias.
You know, the Invisible Man, where you peel back all the layers of the body and you look
Oh,
at
yeah.
anatomy.
Yeah.
I absolutely adored that. That was my favourite.
Yeah.
And the second favourite was the pages on art. So you could look at European masters, and you
Yeah.
could also look at, because it's an American magazine,
You're
encyclopedia.
you're lucky.
The American masters.
Yeah, you're lucky because I had British encyclopedias for children, and all the naughty bits and the nipples and the testicles.
Oh, they
and
didn't put them
They're
in.
all painted out.
Oh dear.
So I remember when I was about 18, when I first saw my first statue of David, I was shocked.
I was going to say,
I was
saw
shocked.
at 18 you saw your first nipple. And
No, I was breastfed.
you got a good memory. I was adopted, so I was not breastfed. We had bottle breasts.
How do you know if you're adopted?
That I wasn't breastfed?
Yeah.
I was adopted at birth.
But they had wet nurses.
I don't know. I've never checked.
Oh, okay, all right. But I believe you're bottle fed.
Yeah.
You remind me
here
of
we go. Here we go.
you remind me of what's his name? Woody Allen.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Right.
He's been going to a psychiatrist for about 70 years, and he burst into the office one day
Yep.
and said, "Look, I'm fed up with this. I've been coming to see you all these years, and you've never told me what's wrong with me. You just listen to me, and I pay all this money.
Mm-mm.
I want to know what's wrong with me now, right now." And so the doctor took his glasses off and scratched his chin and said, "You were breastfed with falsies." Which explains a lot about
Right.
about him.
Yeah.
Not much about you,
Breastfed
but
falsies. Okay.
anyway, let's get back to Bill.
Yeah.
He actually grew up with Aboriginal kids and had friends,
Yeah.
had Aboriginal friends.
Hmm.
And when he did that famous,
grew up in the bush.
when he did that famous, infamous, I should say, picture,
What picture?
the famous,
About the children
the Aboriginal
being
thing.
ignored by their parents.
The first call he got was from his Aboriginal mate saying, "Right on, great cartoon," and then it all came the other way. And
Yeah.
Bill wanted to make a difference. There's lots of cartoonists who've done incredible work, but they feel at the end of their career they never made a difference. But Bill wanted to make a difference. And what happened in that particular case, a 15-year-old schoolgirl saw all the stuff she didn't see it in the paper, but she saw all the stuff on the news because it became a huge furore. And she actually
She took umbrage.
posted, oh, did she ever? And she put a photograph of her father up on Facebook.
Saying my father's not a deadbeat.
That's right, and wrote about what he was and all that. And then within about 5 days, there
everyone
were
else put pictures of their dads up.
10,000 photographs of Aboriginal dads put up. Yeah,
yeah, which was a great thing because it's celebrating Aboriginal dads.
That's right.
And how wonderful.
And Bill felt responsible for that. He felt, that something good came out of it because that's what he wanted. He doesn't want to just, and that particular cartoon. He copped it off everybody, blacks, whites, everybody. But I still haven't finished it, but I'd like to make a film about his Aboriginal work because the bulk of his Aboriginal work is very sensitive to the Aboriginals. But this gets back to his impatience. The cartoons that look like they're critical of Aboriginals is because of his impatience.
Right.
But
that's interesting. What do you mean by that? It's
like
you don't.
I've got about 5 cartoons that it seems like he's criticising them, but it seems like he's criticising them, but he's not really. And that's the other thing about cartoons
that they could be used
for both sides
ambiguous.
of the. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of ambiguity about certain cartoons, and people see what they want to see in them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it got blown right out of proportion. And I was sort of privileged because he actually rang me up a couple of times because John Spooner, who at that time was working in The Age, he came and wrote an article which got published in The Australian supporting him, which is a bit unprecedented.
Yeah.
And of course, what I did, I was a mate of John's, so I put his article up on our website, where a lot of cartoonists saw it, because not everybody reads the papers. All the cartoonists don't necessarily read the papers.
No.
And the thing that Bill told me on the next telephone conversation was that whenever he got into trouble, which was a lot with his cartoons, he felt let down because all sorts of people supported him, but the cartoonists didn't. They didn't seem to support him. And as a matter of fact, when he did that Aboriginal cartoon, quite a few cartoonists came out and criticised him. But after that article got published in our website, he started to get a lot more feedback and friendly feedback and support from the cartoonists. So he rang me up to thank me for putting that on the thing. And that's when he told me stuff. But you see, he drew he drew Muhammad. And a lot of people don't know this story. They put a fatwa out on him, and he had to shift. And he had to shift, and he had police protection round the clock for the last 12 months of his life. I think it might have been 2 years of his life. And when he rang me, he said he couldn't send me an email or that sort of stuff because you can trace those things. And at first it seemed paranoid, but then when he was talking to me about the process, I just realised that he's just following what he was told by the police.
Yeah.
But, his opinions, he stood by his opinions. A lot of cartoonists don't go as far as Bill did, which is probably why he died, because the times I saw him, he was pretty tense. And having all that criticism, and plus he took on the, who was it, the board of, he got involved in the free speech argument. And they were going to take him to court and everything. So the last part of his career is very interesting. But and then he's having his book launch up in Sydney, and Barry Jones turned up unannounced as Les Patterson, and grabbed him and took over, and it was just a very funny. It's on YouTube. It's very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very lively. Barry Humphries saw him as a kindred spirit, and of course 3 days later he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. A sad end to a brilliant career.
Yeah. Yeah. He, one of the stories I heard about him, he was telling me he got really sick because he used to surf at Bondi with his sons.
Yep.
And they were dumping, about 30 years ago, they were dumping sewage into Bondi.
Yeah.
And he got this really, it's not so much swallowed, I think he got it in his ear or something. And he was really crook.
Yeah, Bondi has been a very contentious issue with, for many, many years. But the sewage back then.
Isn't Bondi the capital of New Zealand?
Oh, well, it's many things to many people, you know.
You lived in Bondi, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, you'd know better than I
All
did.
my life.
I've always liked Bondi.
Yeah, it's beautiful, still a beautiful place.
It's the beginning of that. It's the beginning of that sculpture walk, isn't it?
Yep.
By the sea.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's very funny and.
I have friends who enter into the sculpture competition every year.
I remember we're walking along the path on the side of the buildings, and there's a block of flats, and then you're just right on the edge of the cliff, and some sculptor made a letterbox, those big letterboxes for all the flat people, and it looked like it was part of the flat, but it wasn't. It's a sculpture, and he had all these little people inside the letterbox, talking and lights going on and off, and all that sort of stuff, and very friendly, and there's a lot of humour in that exhibition. It's one of the most popular exhibitions in all of Sydney, like. Certain, like the Archibald, people like the Archibald.
The sculpture part of the Archibald is the Sulman.
Yeah. But this is sculpture by the sea, and there's a hell of a lot of humour in it.
Yeah.
Very accessible to the public.
Is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's...
Well, because it's there on the beach.
Yeah, but it's also, the actual artworks are accessible.
Yeah.
They're not,
Yeah, they're not traditional. Like
they're not called Amalgam number 75, they're not called titles like that,
Yeah, if you want stuff like that, you go to the Perspecta.
Is that...
Or the Biennale.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the one thing I miss about Sydney is the art gallery, because it's a smashing art gallery. I love the art gallery.
The big one?
Yeah, and I just wish that bloody finished the outside. They got all these blank panels. They got, Donatello and...
Yeah, all those sculptures, on the outside.
Yeah, these freezers that they've got.
All those
those
Ninja Turtle characters.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in a great... I mean, that park's terrific.
At least,
that park is
have
terrific.
a sense of humour, you buggers, and put up Cutter, what's his name, the rat from Ninja Turtles. What's his name?
I don't know. There was this guy running around in the movie with a cricket bat bashing people. Remember him?
Yeah.
I was never into the Ninja Turtles, but I had sons,
a loyal fan.
And they dragged me off to see these things.
Yeah, I'm not a loyal fan of...
I'm glad. Although
I wish I was. I wish I'd spend more time watching...
It put the Renaissance back on the map, that's for sure.
Yeah. No one knew that...
School teachers would come out and say,
righto,
who's Donatello? And they'd put their hand up.
Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, but who's he named after? And then he'd tell the Donatello story, or he'd tell the Michelangelo story.
Yeah. So it's like a resurgence.
The other thing about his gags...
Renaissance. It's a renaissance. How about that?
In the film we made about his gag work...
Donatello?
No, Bill Leak.
Yep.
He goes for it even in those days. Like, he's got a bloke with a blind dog.
Yeah.
He's at the lights.
Yeah.
And the car goes too fast and completely smashes the head of the blind dog, and the guy's just standing there,
Yeah.
And he really went for it, or a shark would come. There's two blokes fishing at different ends of a boat, and the shark would bite the guy's head off.
Yeah.
You know, like
he had a dark sense of humour.
Yeah, he went for it. It's not just funny ha-ha. They were sort of...
Yeah.
There was a slap in the face with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very powerful cartoons, I think, and very unique style too.
Yes.
Like a,
and his drunks were more real than, like, everybody does drunk gags, but his went further than anybody else.
Yeah.
You know.
Made you intoxicated just by looking at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did some great work of Dame Edna, and his favourite was what's the
politician?
Yeah.
Keating?
No.
Neville Rand?
No. Dame Edna Everidge's alter ego.
Oh yeah, he's got lots of them.
Les Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he did several beautiful portraits, caricatures of Les Patterson.
That Les Patterson one was sort
really
of, it was landscape shaped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he give him space to spread out. Spread his
space to spit. Because he's
wings.
spitting in the picture. He's spitting in the picture. Spit's coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I would have given him a dark background.
No, I didn't want to give him a dark background. I wanted to sort of give a gentler approach to the situation. What I might do is colour in the jumper. I think I might do that. So
he's filling in time. He's never coloured in a jumper before.
No.
You're filling in time here.
I'm just trying to get a bit of contrast in there. I didn't want to sort of give it too much black.
Yeah, Bill was a great Australian cartoonist, and he'll go down as a great Australian cartoonist. We were lucky to have him. While we had him, he upset a lot of people.
Oh well. Does that matter, really?
But his work's there. His work's there. It stands.
It's hard not to upset people, isn't it? Especially, cartoons.
Well, you had no problem.
I had problems. Anyway, change the subject very quickly. The idea of doing cartoons, like political cartoons, you're going to always upsetting somebody.
Yeah.
You have to, and if you don't, you're not a good cartoonist.
Yeah.
You just, why are you sitting on the fence? Take a stand,
But he just didn't upset the usual people. He upset all sorts of people. It was firebombing all over the place,
Yeah.
He upset radicals. He upset all sorts of people.
Yeah, well, a lot of the people he upset were professional upsetters. Well, nothing you could do wouldn't upset.
We'll have to do a whole show on professional upsetters. Yeah, well, he certainly went after wowsers, that's for sure.
There's another term. I don't know.
Well, wowsers is better than professional upsetters.
I like professional upsetters.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
So, any last bits of information?
No, check out our two films on our YouTube channel, the Australian Cartoon Museum, and we're going to make further films on this bloke because he's worth it.
Well, we have
It's great ground. It's like every time I go through his file, I take my time and I really soak it all up, and I see things I haven't seen before in his work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting man, and his work is worth checking out. So even, forget about politics. Just look at the ideas themselves. The humanity always comes through. This is a face that's sort of suffered for, I reckon, suffered for his art, you could say.
Suffered for his...
Yeah. You can see there's half a smile there and there's some disappointment. So there's a lot of issues going on with Bill.
Yeah.
And...
I would have brought that bit down just a bit deeper.
It's a bit more deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to show before and after?
Yes, why not? This is Mr. Leak.
That's Bill in his final years.
Yeah. And there he is with this beautiful cocky smile.
Mm.
And this is my version of Bill Leak. And this is Frantz Kantor and
Jim Bridges
saying we'll catch you
on the flip side.
Thank you. Bye.